Hi everyone, welcome. Hope you're doing absolutely awesome. So I wanted to talk today about kitchen cutlery, which was actually my initial reason for creating this channel, but I kind of got sidetracked. So today I wanted to talk about what, in my opinion, is the best budget kitchen knife, a knife under approximately $30. And that knife is right here in front of you. This is the Mercer Culinary Genesis Series 6-inch short bolster chef's knife. I've had this knife over 1 year and used it over 1 year. They make quite a lot of different models in this series. They have a 6-inch, 8-inch, a 9-inch, and a 10-inch. But this 6-inch guy is my favorite of the series. Also, they make it with, this is the short bolster form. They also make it with a bolster that comes down to here. I actually don't understand why they even make those at all, because to me this is much preferable because it's much easier to sharpen. So going into the specs for this knife, we have a 6.5-inch blade from the very tip of the blade to approximately here, and that is 165 millimeters. The weight is 6.3 ounces or 180 grams. And the blade stock is 2.0 millimeters. And it has, if you take a look, it has a distal taper going from here down to here. It gets narrower. So like I said, this is the short bolster version. It's made in Taiwan. The blade steel is forged X50 CR MOV 15 steel, which is the basic German steel. The handle is a rubber material. It's Santoprene synthetic rubber. The secondary bevel is ground at a 15-degree angle. The HRC is approximately 56 on the Rockwell scale. So why do I like this knife so much? Well, one thing is that it has decent knuckle clearance between where your finger goes and the heel of the blade down here. So it's easy to use on a cutting board. I really like this length of approximately 6.5 inches. It's not too long and it's not too short. I really like the feel of the handle. It's very grippy and it works well in wet conditions. And it's just a great knife overall. So let me bring in some comparisons for you to look at. So one of the main competitors in this price range is going to be the Victorinox firebox series. So let me bring in one of those guys, if it'll fit on the screen. So this is the Victorinox firebox 8-inch chef's knife. So why do I prefer the Mercer over this Victorinox? For one, I really like this smaller size of the Mercer better. It works a lot better for me in my smaller kitchen. If you have a really big kitchen with a lot of open space, then maybe you would prefer the larger knife. Also, I find, I think, in my opinion, the edge retention on the Mercer is better, probably because it's hardened to a slightly higher Rockwell number, even though it uses a very similar steel. I prefer the handle on the Mercer better. I like the shape better and I like the feeling of the material better. This handle on the firebox is a harder material and it just feels cheaper. This blade is stamped, whereas this Mercer blade is forged. You can see, if you look here, this is one hunk of steel that's been forged. On the Victorinox, it's just, the blade is just stamped. Bringing in a second competitive option. This knife is also from Victorinox's firebox Proline. This is their 7.5-inch firebox Pro chef's knife. Bringing the 8-inch model back in for comparison, you can see that the 7.5-inch is a lot smaller than the 8-inch version, despite there only being a 1/2-inch difference in the naming. Bringing the Mercer back in, Of these two knives, I prefer the Mercer by quite a wide margin for a number of reasons. One is I prefer the slightly wider blade profile on the Mercer compared to the narrower blade profile on the Victorinox. Also, in my kind of cramped kitchen, I prefer the shorter blade length of the Mercer. It's about 1 inch shorter than the blade length on the Victorinox. And I prefer this rubber feeling of the Mercer's handle compared to this more plasticky feeling of the Victorinox. And overall, the Mercer has a much more quality feeling than the Victorinox, even though that's just a subjective thing. So let me talk about a few of the drawbacks of the Mercer that I see. One is that on the handle, if you look closely, you can see that the surface of the rubber is not flush with the surface of the steel. There's about a 1 millimeter lip between the surfaces. So I don't like the feeling of that lip. I would prefer it much better if the rubber was flush with the handle. Another thing I'm not crazy about is the balance. It balances about right there. I would prefer if the balance was more forward, and I would prefer if it was right here where your index finger naturally grips the handle. And the last issue that I see is that I would be very happy if they made a version of this knife with an upgraded blade steel, such as CPM S35VN. There's nothing wrong with this steel, but it's really basic, and it just doesn't have the blade retention of some of the newer steels that are out. So I think that sums it up, but all in all, this is an awesome knife, and I think it's the best knife in this budget category. If you have any comments or questions, please comment below. Also, if you could like and subscribe and share, I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye now.